Hi there, Raquel. How are you? Hope you're doing great. Sorry that this video is coming to you a little later than I had anticipated. I just had like the worst trouble because of my devices. Everything was filled with media, photos, videos. There was not enough storage. There was not enough space to record anything. And no matter how much I deleted, I would just get thrown off. Like the camera would shut off every time I started filming these videos. It was just so annoying. So I finally had to just bite the bullet and delete every single photo video on my entire phone. And you know what I was shocked? I was shocked I had stuff from like 6 years ago on this phone. And I don't even remember having an iPhone 6 years ago. So go figure. Strange, isn't it? Anyway. It is June, and that is hard to believe. I mean, gosh, where did this time go, right? So I hope you've been having a great week, and welcome to Seattle, right? It's raining and pretty chilly, 50 degrees outside today. So, okay, enough chit-chat. Let's get on with our mega piece. Okay. Last time we were really talking about the difference between counting in one's head and actually counting out loud, and you know how we can really get the rhythm of something so accurate when we're counting out loud, but sometimes when we're counting to ourselves, it starts to like just totally run amok. Now, you know, like sometimes our fantasy life in our minds, like the way things appear in our minds, are very different than reality. I think that's why these things happen. And it's not just to you, it's to all of us. Like a lot of times our fantasy counting is very different than reality counting, because in our fantasy we're counting and we're stopping and we don't even perceive that. Like, you know, if I am counting, in my mind, I could be counting like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and I won't even know because I have nothing to relate it to, right? I have no point of reference. It's all just in my mind, right? It's like a dream, you know, like sometimes you're like so foggy in a dream, you don't know if it's reality, if it's based on something that's happened to you before. Everything is just sort of like foggy. The same thing with counting. That's why it's so important. You drill the counting out loud and make it a habit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. And after you drill it so many times, a couple of things happen. First of all, you get used to yourself counting, which is extremely important. You get a hold of that counting, you make it your own, you absorb it, right? So that's the first thing. You own the rhythm. Second thing is that by counting out loud, you can hear when your counting starts going all, you know, out of sync. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, I'm rushing. I can't rush. So you have a kind of feeling of accountability there. Because again, your reference is the sound of your voice and the beat. Now again, metronome is a great tool to use for this because that is the ultimate reference because it does not waver. But the only issue is you can't practice way too much with the metronome because then it's easy to get your playing to become very metronomic, which again, we don't want. It's not meant to be machine-like, but I can't stress enough the importance of the rhythm. It's the foundation of everything. Okay, so last time we were going ahead with some of these different variations. Okay, variation 2, 3, and 4, right? here, keep counting triplets. So if I'm starting on the measure before the last in the second line, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Importance also of connecting the C sharp to the D. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That importance here of legato too, very difficult, right? We talked about this. 1, 2. At least connect the top note of that. Don't worry about the bottom, because that's almost impossible to connect the two notes to two notes. Connect the top line, because that's your melody, right? So whatever happens beneath, just touch the note and let go of it. It's like a kind of detachment. But the ear will still register that as legato. So that's where sort of the crudeness of our sense of hearing, not being as developed as some of our other senses, really comes into play. You know, we can create illusions of sound that, you know, then you don't hear when you're playing a staccato if you're masking it with another voice which is legato. So it's a curious thing, especially when that voice is high in the range, because the high frequencies is what the ear really attaches to. So because you're detaching lower sounds, it's not going to appear not connected. So it's fascinating. So use that to your advantage, because it's easier to play that way, and of course it masks the fact that we are actually doing a little musical magical trick. 1, 2. The next variation is all 16 notes. Very active here, isn't it? So many 16ths, you have to really control them by rotating over your firm fingertips, okay? Here, we're really getting the melody as sung as an aria, okay? This is where Mozart really comes into his element as an operatic composer. He loved the opera. He loved the genre of operatic music. He loved singing, and everything he wrote is basically a singing line. He was one of the most incredible melodists out there. He could really write a tune. So, you know, not all composers are like that. Like Beethoven, for instance, that was not his main motivation, is to write pretty tunes. But Mozart did. So and like probably better than anybody. So let's here use the opportunity to be so singing in the right hand, but not at the expense of the rhythm. So let's not get schmaltzy, because that might sound all nice and good, but it's not correct. You know, plain and simple, because we're not in rhythm. We're so extending it. We are so abusing the rhythm there that it just falls apart. So Mozart is so clean. It's like when you have the most perfect organic vegetables, freshly picked, and you're making a salad, and you know you've got these gorgeous lettuce greens that are just so incredibly crunchy, right? And you could smell like how fresh they are, and the color is so green, and they are just so vibrant. And you put together this beautiful salad, and then you just like completely douse it with like Four Seasons ranch dressing. Like, why would you do that? Cover up all that beauty, right? So the same thing here. Don't abuse the rhythm here, and keep it clean so that we could hear the fresh, beautiful melody. And always remember phrasing. So when you see, like, for instance, the first real measure in a variation 3, notice it's a 2-note slur. And then next measure is also a 2-note slur. So always remember the rule. The first note is louder. Okay? And then it goes on. So watch your slurs. Watch the left hand so it doesn't get too overpowering. If you can, make sure you do a good legato here. Don't let go. Don't do that. Like, no hiccups there. All right, so we will work some more on Friday, but just remember, rhythm first, melody, balance between the hands, keeping the left hand in the background through wonderful voicing and good form. And I'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye.